Smartphones put a computing powerhouse in our pocket. But now they hold a deadly secret, a virus capable of bringing the entire world order to its knees. Every click could be your last. Every connection is a potential threat. Nathan Rifkin, bleeding and on the run. Claire Bodine, racing against time to stop the carnage. Kazuyoshi Okada, the enigmatic creator, caught in a web of his own making. Follow and experience the events in real time in this new immersive and interactive reading experience. A world on the brink of chaos, cities in flames and panic in the streets. A race against time to uncover the truth. Navigate a world where every link takes you deeper into the mystery. Uncover the thin line between reality and fiction. Experience Devil's Game.
Welcome, everyone. Today on Big Blend Radio, we have a unique author joining us, Michael Wolk. He wrote the immersive cyber novel called Devil's Game. And I mean, this is for all of us who love tech, but it's really cool. It is innovative, not just immersive, it is innovative. Go to DevilsGame.com. It is out now. So welcome, Michael. How are you?
Well, doing great, thanks. And hello from New York City.
Yeah, you're not too far away from us today, I don't think. Well, kind of. We're on the east, so it's nice to be in the east, but I'm excited about what you've done because it's user friendly, it's interactive, it's fast paced, but you kind of feel like you're getting people's attention and opening their mind to, it's like a story, but then it's also real fact at the same time. That was cool.
Oh, cool. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I wanted to write something that you could experience. Really, it's a story about smartphones being, possessed by this terrible virus and really decimating the world. So it all takes place on your smartphone, and you are actually experiencing through the hero's smartphone. That's like the idea to draw you in.
Mm-hmm. It gets you in there and then you're clicking through and then but then don't you you can do this on your phone, but you can do it on your computer, your iPad, everything. So it's like its own app.
It is. You actually are downloading this app to your phone, and it's what I like about it. It's very, it's, I myself started reading things on my phone all the time. I have to admit, the books piled up on my bed table and I was reading stuff on my phone. So I asked myself, like, why am I doing that? And part of it is that when you scroll through things, you have options of hyperlinks to take you, to expand your understanding of what you're reading, or to really deepen your experience of what you're reading. And page-turning fiction doesn't do that. But I was realizing if I was writing something that actually scrolled like that and could use hyperlinks, I could really expand the universe of this story quite easily.
That's why, we went from print magazine to digital, and we waited because back in the day, it always had that annoying sound of the page turning, which was cool in the beginning. Then it like a few pages in, you're like, all right, that's enough of that. But then it just wasn't, it was too much of a PDF versus you wanted that experience. And now, I mean, things can move on and all kinds of stuff can happen. But I mean, it's cool that people have links. They can listen to podcasts, they can watch videos, they can do all this immersive stuff. So it's more of an experience, I think, for people.
Yeah. I think so too.
Well, but the thing is, what's kind of freaky about what you've done, I mean, it is called Devil's Game, right? And it is about viruses, like here it is. It's like a epidemic that takes over, right? And we all know this stuff can happen, right? And there's all these facts. I mean, you even have Trump in there. But anyway, I'm just going to say there's all kinds of, Zuckerberg's in there, Musk, everybody's in there. So you're also keeping with modern times, right, of what's going on. So that's interesting. But what's freaky is you do click on links, and there's that side of you that every time you go to click on the link, you're like, dude, it better not be a virus. But then you go, well, I'm on a phone, but but you know what I mean. So that's kind of cool because it gives you that little bit of a, you're going to do it, but you just, because that's what the book's about.
That's right. And it also, you know, we created some websites just for the story, but at the same time, there are hyperlinks to actual news websites,
Mm-hmm.
and so it really blends fact with fiction, and it sort of blurs the line, and it sort of, to me, it sort of parallels our experience on the internet, where we really don't
Mm-hmm.
know when we
No.
blundered into fiction from fact. We really don't know.
Oh, I okay. Well, by the way, we're recording this before the election. So
Yeah,
just say, but no, the other part is you've got visuals in there too. So that's
yes.
really cool. So, you can see the characters, and so that's that other part of it. So, and you call it episodes instead of chapters. So now you feel like you're kind of making your own newsy team, kind of, I don't know, like your own news team, doing this in a way.
That's
So I want to go into your characters. Tell everybody about your two main characters.
well, they're opposing in the most basic way, because the hero is Nathan Rifkin, who is a marketing genius for video games, and some of them violent video games. And he's rather cynical and rather thinks that human beings are subject to marketing manipulation. And so
Hmm.
he's rather skeptical and cynical individual, but very good at what he does. And Claire Bodine is a televangelist who is much a believer in the spiritual side of man, and the soul of man. And she's violently opposed to these video games, which she thinks really are just corrupting youth and putting young minds on the wrong path. So they've come to loggerheads before, but now they are the ones in this year of 2017, when the world is facing a crisis. They are able to communicate on Blackberries because their
Hmm.
Blackberry phones are untouched by the virus that has decimated iPhones and Androids.
Mm,
And what's interesting about this now, it's set in 2017, but now there are just two ecosystems for phones.
yeah.
And when there was BlackBerry, it did save Sony Pictures at one point. They were absolutely decimated by a cyber attack, because they put out this movie about the um, North Korean dictator. I forget the name of it. It was The Interview or something like that. It was like with Josh Rogan, and
Okay.
they uh, they were attacked by North Korean hackers, Sony, and it shut them down.
Remember something about this. Yeah. See, but that's the cool thing about then you can click and learn more about it.
That's
So
right. That's right. That's one of the stories that we mentioned. In fact, they were saved by their Blackberries because they
yeah.
could communicate and send messages whenever nobody else in the studio could.
I remember when Blackberries came out, like when you had like the Grammy Awards and people they were reading their speeches off their Blackberry, and everybody was like, look at this, the world has changed. And now I'm like, now Blackberries are like antiques. So it's like, kids today don't know what a real phone is, like an old school phone. They
Right?
don't know what a Blackberry is either.
They don't. They don't. BlackBerry's still in the security business. They actually,
Wow.
yeah, they secure a lot, like a lot of the automotive manufacturers use BlackBerry security. So they're
Ah.
still around, but they lost that handset game because they didn't do the app thing. They they
Oh.
they thought apps would never last. They thought it was all about text and email. Who needs apps?
Yeah, now it's become like everybody, if you got an app, everybody got an app. Well, but then, the other, I find it interesting too because pagers are still being used, obviously.
Yeah,
Like sadly, some of
sadly.
that's a rough conversation.
Yes,
But
it,
people do on the ground, they're saying that even doctors still use pagers at times.
yeah,
So it's still an old school way of communicating and it works. I mean, why toss out a whole form of communication if it works?
right, right.
You
And
know?
it just makes us more vulnerable if something is attacked. I mean, it's really not imponderable to me that it would be some kind of virus, a cross-platform virus that could affect Androids and iPhones.
Mm.
We know they both can be breached. We know that spy agencies have breached both of them. So we know that they're not as secure as we'd like to think. And everything about us is in our phone, everything.
Yeah, and I don't think iPhone is just so as clean as they think. They've had virus issues, and it used to be, oh, anything to do with Apple is safe. No, not so much. I've
Mm.
had, friends who've gone through computers that are just got nailed. So I don't know what's changed on all of that, but they're not as safe. But the apps aren't safe. I mean, it's like Facebook Messenger, and everyone swears by WhatsApp, and I'm like, I don't know. One day you're going to find out. And that's where what's interesting is all these underground groups are using these kind of apps too.
That's right. That's right.
You
Yeah.
know,
For their
yeah. Ooh,
security features.
I'm sure Anonymous has its own WhatsApp
Yeah,
account.
really, really.
But okay, so when you do, yeah, you love reading from your phone, right? So this comes to your mind. But did that kind of like, hey, I'm going to write something that way? Tell us a little bit about your writing background and the story. Like, what
Uh,
came first, the
yeah.
app or the story?
Well, this story I've written in other forms. I've written a few novels. I've written a couple mystery novels, and
Mm,
I've written for film. Innocent Blood was a vampire mafia movie that John Landis
cool.
directed, and it was kind of a thing. I also am writing for theater, and I've just had a musical, The Pilot and the Little Prince, based on the book The Little Prince, the children's book,
Okay.
and the fellow who wrote it, Saint-Exupéry, and it encompasses both their stories. And it just premiered in Poland, and it's a musical.
Wow. Cool.
So I've been writing different things in different forms, and it was something where uh, I did think about phones, and my first experience of people reading things on their phones was actually in Japan.
Mm,
People were reading cell phone novels. This is when people still had flip phones. So, the screens were
wow.
much smaller, but what they would do is they would do these kind of romances or little intrigue kind of things, and they would text the text of the episode.
Okay.
So you just be thumbing through it, and I thought, oh my goodness, people are actually, reading on their phones, and now it's just gotten more of a thing where everybody's reading on their phones. You hardly ever see anybody with a book on the subway anymore, you know.
Well, we travel full time. And as we travel, we pet sit. And so we're in house. We've lived across the country, like literally, right? So you become like a temporary, community member when we're in a place. And so we're at this everywhere we go, we're like, where's a book? Like just a hard copy book for a
Wow.
change. And it's the same thing as used to have record collections, and some people really do. Some people have it all. But
Mhm.
you see no music and no books. So you go in a house and you go, well, all right, look at the art. Do they have art?
That's
To
right.
find out, do they have plants? Okay, they're cool. They're cool because they have animals. But you know what I mean? It's interesting to be now in a world with the hard copy books kind of, they're still there, but and they were put there in homes. The book you were talking about marketing.
Mm.
There was this marketing genius. The Parrot and the Igloo is a book that everyone should read by David Lipsky, a
Mm.
really amazing journalist, author. And The Parrot and the Igloo, he talks about how, you know, books were being threatened because of the radio coming. And it wasn't the radio, it was the gramophone and Edison and all of that, right? So Edison comes out with gramophone, and Simon and Schuster and all those kind of people are like, oh, we're in trouble. People aren't going to read, they're just going to listen, right? So they call on this dude, and I don't remember his name. So his name is Dude for right now. And it was a really marketing genius. And you'd think, oh, they're going to do some commercials and tell people how reading is good for them and blah, blah, blah. Mm-mm. No. He went to all the suburbia developers at that time. That was kind of you thinking about how, Beaver Cleaverland and all that kind of stuff was happening,
Yeah.
and made a deal with all the developers to put in bookcases, built-in bookcases, so that there will be books in the bookcase. And so that they would have to fill them. So that's genius marketing to me. You can't beat that.
That really is.
I don't know what we're going to do about your guy creating all, marketing the the games, the
Yeah.
devil games, right? Marketing them. I don't know. You're going to have like, I don't know, screens every, I don't know,
Yeah. Well, I just in my office today, we were just actually getting rid of file cabinets because
Oh my gosh, I
we
know.
don't use hanging files anymore.
Yeah.
It's like we don't do that anymore,
Yeah. And well, when we first started podcasting, it was over the phone and the internet. It was at the very beginning of podcasting. And I remember we'd, do all our research and print out all these notes, and everybody would have this stack of notes for this conversation, you know. And then when we started traveling, we're like, well, we can't do that. So then we had to start like, getting smart. And now it's just like, just keep it in your head, just listen and have the conversation. But you can't, like the bookshelf, I mean the file cabinets. No, I had to evacuate those in the fire, all of our book stuff. And I mean our books, our business stuff
Oh,
in book
yes.
file cabinets, and they hurt. I hope
Oh,
you guys didn't get hurt.
please.
You know what I
Oh,
mean? When you're picking them up
yes.
in a hurry, they hurt. They have corners.
That's
All I
right.
remember is when file cabinets started getting taken out, I'm like, yes, kill them, kill them. They hurt. They hurt, and those little things on it. But yeah, we don't,
Yes.
I think there's a place for them though, because I think documents should be preserved. I know we can do it digitally,
Yeah,
but
I
but
know.
still,
Oh, it's really the whole Devil's Game, made me even more paranoid about, how subject we are to the frailties of the ecosystems that our phones are on and our computers are on. Things
Mm,
do go haywire. I mean,
mm,
the one of the things that happened is I was writing the book was this CrowdStrike thing that happened where this, security firm did a little update on their software, and they decimated the business world and took
mm.
so many businesses offline. Airlines were canceled, and it cost $8 billion worth of damage in one day.
Right, right. You have that at the beginning. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing that kind of, it's eye-opening. And then it's weird because we'll see something like that happen, right? We'll read it in the news like, holy cow, or something like that happened to us, and you move on. Well, if you're part of a data breach and you get hacked from it, let me tell you, Facebook, Instagram, I was taken off of everything,
Oh
100%, our
no.
whole business, and they wouldn't let us
Oh,
back on for like 6, 7 months, and I had to start over on everything from a data breach. So like
wow.
one company that I was, doing software stuff with, video software, they sent out this, oh, sorry. And I'm like, you know, and they're talking about how they partner with Facebook. I'm like, well, if you're a partner, go fix this. Go tell them. No, we're not that kind of partner. I'm like, well, this sucks. So that was a massive,
Whoa.
and you lose all those relationships, and you know,
How could that happen? How did how
because here's the thing, and we even just did a cybersecurity show, and the expert who used to work, he was in he did NASA stuff and government like White House kind of level, and he was like, don't ever use the same password on anything, right? Well, dumb, dumb Lisa. I didn't didn't learn the lesson from the conversation, but it only happened a few days after.
wow.
And I was driving, and we were dodging a hurricane. This is years ago. And I was pulled over checking emails, and you're trying to do something in an area without good internet. So I really looked bad. So they just, there you go. But that's just one little thing. But people move on the next day from the big one that you're talking about. That, it's like, oh my gosh, it'll be conversation for 1 to 2 days if we're lucky, right? And then we
Yeah,
forget it. So what
yeah,
your book does is it's kind of like you're giving us a story to follow, right?
yeah.
Because if it was a bunch of information, then we need the story because we're humans. We
Yeah.
want the story. But you're reminding us all and kind of compiling it all. So it's like, that is creepy.
It is. And it goes on today, I mean, literally, there was this report from Microsoft that just came out that Russia, China, and Iran have been just hacking horribly around the world, and they've been
Mhm.
not working together exactly, but sharing resources in some ways.
Ooh, that's not cool.
No, it's not, and it's very scary.
Like our electric grids and all of that.
Our electric grids, the
Ooh,
utilities. The
ooh.
Russians have been inside that. The Chinese have been inside that.
What freaks me out too is when we talk about space and all of this stuff going down. The space station used to be this universal kind of thing, and the astronauts didn't care. They're like, hey, this is cool. Let's do this, Now it's going to get weird. I think space is going to get weird. So,
Yeah, China's already in the space race for real. Yeah.
ooh,
And Russia
imagine,
gave us there first. That I didn't realize that Russia got to space with manned spacecraft back in the 50s, like the Sputnik era, and
mhm.
that caused such fear on the US part that they put more resources into the space program and got a man on the moon.
Yeah, that's so you're just freaking everybody out.
Sorry, but yeah, it's
That's
true.
it's fun, isn't it, though, in a way? Like, hey, let's put this together. This creates a cool story. It's yeah, you're eye-opening, but I really like the innovation of this and that you can, connect with the characters. That's important, to get them. But it's funny because you're really like reading a lot of text messages, and it's like that's because that is like spying, like you're snooping too. So
Mm.
people like to snoop. They want to read other people's phones. Whenever you show someone your phone to show one picture, they start scrolling, you know? And you're like, please
You
don't go to the
notice
next
that?
page. Yeah, don't go to the next page. It's not going to be what you want. Or like you're showing them something on Facebook and they say, I'm like, no, 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 don't look at that message. No, you know, that's what it's like. It's cool.
Mm.
People want to do it. So you kind of you've tapped into different human emotions, I think. We the you want to have the little bit of gossip, you want to spy and you want to read someone's journal. So that part is there, and then the little bit of fear and then a little conspiracy in there too, because it is a little bit in there, don't you think?
Yeah,
Little
it
what
is.
if conspiracy.
Yeah, yeah,
I don't want to
definitely.
give it all away because you can't do that. People have to check it out and do it. So
Yeah, appreciate
putting
it.
this together, how was that? Because technology changes pretty quick, huh? So
Yeah, yeah.
you had this idea. So were you kind of in a race of time to make it happen?
Well, I wanted to, it's yeah, I wanted to get it out there, but it was a little difficult because at first we tried to develop it purely as an app that was for
Hmm.
sale on Google Play and in the App Store for iPhones, and developing that with uh, developers took quite a while, and then standards changed at Google and at Apple, so that
Yep.
we have to, redo it. Eventually, what we found was somebody who's very talented developer, Chris Rupel, who did a wonderful job of putting it all on a live website
Mm.
uh, that could be formatted in such a way that you could go to the website and download it as an app. So
Oh, see,
without an app store, without going through Google or iPhones, it's just there. And fortunately, it works like a charm, and it's very quick. And you know,
wow.
yeah, it's
That's really smart because when you think of, I know the digital magazines are going that way too, because Yeah, it's a weird changing thing, and podcasts too. Like Acast got rid of their app because now it just works on your phone. Like it's interesting, but the fact is you want to be able to enjoy it and not use data, and you don't want to use Wi-Fi half the time, or you might be in a place where you can't. So this is something you can enjoy once you've downloaded it, right? Or do you
You
still have to
can.
be online?
Well, you can read it all, and all the text and the pop-ups will work. If
Hmm.
you need to go to an exterior website, uh,
That'll not.
yeah, if you're on a subway or
Yeah.
something, that is not going to work.
Okay. That yeah. No, no, no. That's the thing. That no, no, I get you. I get you. That like for us, if yeah, you can download our publications onto your phone,
Yes.
but they all have links and whatever, but we can't, you don't want to download, you legally can't, I don't think, even do that, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that makes sense though, because you can go back and read more when you want to as well.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
but so many, yeah, depending on where you are in the world right now, so many people do just have Wi-Fi, so it's not as big of a deal as when we were on dial-up. Do you
Dial.
remember dial-up?
I do. I do remember AOL dial-up.
Oh my gosh.
That was way to go. I mean,
Netscape
yes, Netscape.
and the big books. Yep.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, but this is, you've got to think, I mean, this is not, it's a quarter of a century. Look how it's changed, because even when the internet first came, the big dot-com bust and all of that, the history of the internet is fascinating. It's fascinating. And we could all see this is going to be massive and life-changing. It's going to change commerce, it's going to change everything. But everybody raced without doing the homework.
Oh, now, don't get me started on AI. Talking about racing without
I
doing.
was going to go, I was going to bring that up because that kind of goes to the next level, right? Doesn't it? The AI side of it, because yeah, that's interesting. Is that going to be your next topic? Your
Well,
next book?
actually, we've been writing, posting for a little bit for Claire and Nathan, social media post ideas, and Claire is now totally bedeviled by AI, and she's just pointing out all the problems with AI and how it's a corrosive and corruptive influence.
Mm,
And I, I, I'm just terrified by it. It's been developed so fast. Do you remember this brief moment in which people like Elon Musk and Zuckerberg were actually asking for, like, let's just take a pause on AI development. Let's just take 6 months, like Sam Altman of OpenAI. Let's just wait. But nobody did, because nobody wanted to be the one who's left behind. So
right.
there's been no pause in development of this terrifying power.
And that's where we start to look at the news and not know what's fact. They can take people's voices, they can take video. I mean, that's the creepy thing. Photoshop got in trouble, and Nancy, my mom, had a huge argument with them. We've been with them for years, and back in the day, there were thousands of dollars on discs and all of that stuff.
Mhm.
I think from day one, we've been with them, and then next thing you know, there was the policy of like, hey, they at the same time they did a commercial of basically, photographers, you don't need to go out in the field. You've got, Photoshop Studio with AI to do things with you. And I'm like, that totally just annoys any creative person, And then at the same time, they were saying that our stuff, that if you're working on something, that they're going to take it and use it for AI.
That's
And
right.
if
That's right.
and that is because now what happens to your private property?
Right. Right.
But there are musicians creating with AI, there's art people using AI, and some of it's positive, but you're still stealing from somebody else who put that out there.
It's terrifying. And I, it's like voiceovers that you hear on the radio, but very human voice. They're AI, you
I
know.
know people that are doing podcasts using an AI voice.
Oh,
Uh, so they'll do it as a transcript for their website, so it's like a fake podcast by
wow.
reading the transcript. And like if I do that kind of reading once in a while, and if I goof up a thing or two, I leave it because I want you to
Yes,
know, y'all, I'm human. You know
that's
what I
right.
mean?
That's right.
And I goof up on every show, and I don't even sit there taking the ums and the ahs out, because I want people to actually have a human. I feel like we have to be more human now, more than ever. because of
Yeah.
AI and this
It's
this
true.
weird flat voice. And you hear it on like YouTube videos,
Ooh,
like the narrator has that same weird mechanical voice, and it has
yes.
no warmth,
Right. Right.
no vibrancy. But you
No.
can click vibrancy on there to make it happen. Like, ew.
Yeah. Yeah. It's getting scary. It really is.
Yeah.
Even
And
this.
how,
uh,
yeah, we have to know. They're making things be labeled now. This is AI generated, though. That's a
hmm,
good standard to have.
that
That,
sure is.
but AI is part of where things happen. They use AI in medical uh, offices, health records, stuff like that. There's
Yeah.
breaches in that because of AI stuff.
Oof. Have you noticed as a publication that, the AI search results at the top of Google have
Yeah.
affected your traffic?
It's weird as a publication, not really, because I think the podcast, we've come up on it. We come up on it, but it is still Google generated, but it's like, I think because we've been around a long time, we have people for a long, I mean, we've been around we're old now. so, so we have that, but we have newer people. So I don't know. It's what we look at is when writers try to turn in AI generated content.
Ooh,
That's something to look at. Did you generate this yourself? Did you go to a destination, a travel writer say, and put in what you wanted to say, were there, have some photos to back up, and then just tweak a few words and think you can get away with it? We used to
wow.
watch that on Wikipedia. You can see there's tools for that.
Oof.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. Hmm.
Know that, like Sports Illustrated got caught up actually using AI reviews.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
All right. Well, everybody be scared. Be very scared. Play devil's
Yeah.
game. Well, I
Yes,
love
yes.
this. I love what you've done because you're
Thank you.
making people think and be entertained. And I think that is the coolest thing about the world of the arts is that it's like, here we're going to give you the medicine, but it's going to taste good. Mary Poppins. It's reality. The arts are always telling the truth more than
Yeah.
anything, right? So I think that's what you're doing, and keeping it innovative and what's going on now. But you know, by now, next year you could come on the show and your book's going to be complete virtual reality or something that we wear the Google glasses for or something. So
Yay.
we could change. Do you think we'll ever read it on a watch?
Wow. That's carrying it a little too far.
I know that would be, but it'd be kind of cool. You just gonna,
And no,
talk
as it
to you.
is, I end up watching movies on my phone,
Do
that
you?
on occasion, on occasion. So what?
Well, it works. I mean, look at all the reels and how that just changed everything too.
Yeah.
Instagram and all of that. So yeah, this is cool, Michael. This has been so much fun. You got to come back. You got to write more. You're gonna do another one.
Yeah, you can't stop me. Gonna do them.
Okay, good, good. Because once you got one, will it be? Is it going to be like a second installation or a completely
Well,
different story?
I think I'm very, I did a movie that was a vampire mafia movie, and I
Mm-hmm.
have
That's
a,
cool.
a New York City Central Park werewolf story that I have wanted to tell. And I'm thinking of using the format of this idea of
Mm-hmm.
hyperlinked fiction, so that I can expand the world of it, just like with
Ooh.
Devil's Game, So, um, yeah, but that it would be basically a werewolf story for modern New York.
Ooh, that's cool. You got to do that. You've
Well,
got to
thanks.
do that, and you've got to release it on Halloween.
It's coming
Yeah,
up. It's coming
that
up.
is. I mean, that's it. That's cool. I love it. I love it. Well, Michael, congratulations on doing something very cool,
Thank
innovative,
you.
and
Thank you.
everyone, again, you've got to go to the website DevilsGame.com and check it out. And there's a sample chapter on there, so you know what we're talking about. And go get it. Go check it out. It is super cool. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Lisa. I really appreciate it.
It was fun.
Hey.
Thank you for listening to Big Blend Radio. Keep up with our shows at bigblendradio.com.